Chosen one, listen carefully, because what you are about to hear may explain why certain things have felt strange, why your spirit has been unsettled, and why God has been placing certain signs in your path. There is something hidden beneath the surface, and the person represented by J may not be telling you everything. But do not let fear control you. God is not revealing truth to destroy you. He is revealing it to protect you, prepare you, and redirect you. What is concealed cannot remain concealed forever when God decides it is time for the light to enter. Stay discerning, stay prayerful, and listen closely. Chosen one, there are moments in life when your spirit knows something before your mind can explain it. You may not have evidence. You may not have a clear conversation, a confession, or a message that confirms what you have been sensing. Yet something inside you keeps whispering that there is more to the story. You notice the pauses. You notice the changes in tone. You notice when someone suddenly becomes distant, unusually quiet, overly defensive, or strangely interested in what you are doing. You notice the things that do not quite add up. And perhaps you have been trying to convince yourself that you are imagining it. Perhaps you have told yourself, maybe I am overthinking. Maybe I am being too sensitive. Maybe I should just give this person the benefit of the doubt. And there is nothing wrong with giving people grace. There is nothing wrong with choosing forgiveness. There is nothing wrong with refusing to become suspicious of everyone around you. But grace does not require you to ignore discernment. God can give you peace while simultaneously showing you what you need to see. That distinction is important, because sometimes the reason your heart feels unsettled is not because God wants you to panic. It is because God is asking you to pay attention. Chosen one, J may be hiding something, but before you make any accusation, understand this. The revelation is not necessarily about exposing someone for the sake of humiliation. It may be about exposing a situation for the sake of your freedom. There is a difference. God does not need you to chase the truth desperately. He does not need you to interrogate everyone. He does not need you to become consumed by suspicion. If something needs to be revealed, God knows how to bring it into the light. Your responsibility is not to force the revelation. Your responsibility is to remain spiritually awake. You have entered a season where appearances may no longer be enough for you. You are beginning to recognize the difference between what people say and what their actions communicate. You are beginning to understand that consistency speaks louder than promises. You are beginning to realize that someone can say, care about you, while repeatedly behaving in ways that leave you confused, depleted, or dishonored. And God is teaching you not to ignore that contradiction. Maybe J has been telling you one thing while doing another. Maybe there is information that has been withheld. Maybe there is a conversation that happened behind your back. Maybe there is an intention that has never been spoken openly. Maybe J is carrying guilt, fear, regret, jealousy, or uncertainty. Maybe J knows something about a situation that you do not know yet. And perhaps the reason this message is reaching you now is because the timing matters. Before you react, breathe. Before you confront anyone, pray. Before you send that message, pause. Before you make a permanent decision based on an incomplete picture, ask God for wisdom. Because sometimes God reveals the truth in pieces. He allows you to notice one detail today, another tomorrow, and another later. Then suddenly, what seemed like unrelated moments begin connecting. You realize why certain doors closed. You understand why certain conversations never happened. You see why someone became distant. You recognize why an opportunity did not work out. And you realize that what you thought was a delay was actually protection. Chosen one, you may have been asking God, why did this happen to me? But God may be preparing to show you. This happened for you. There are situations you cried over that God was using to separate you from something that could have harmed your future. There are people you desperately wanted to keep who God knew you needed to release. There are relationships you thought were being tested when, in reality, your discernment was being awakened. And there are truths you were not emotionally ready to see before. That is why timing matters. If God had revealed everything to you 2 years ago, perhaps you would have fought to preserve what he was trying to remove. If God had shown you someone's intentions before you developed emotional attachment, perhaps you would have dismissed the warning because you wanted the relationship to work. If God had exposed the full picture before your character had developed through hardship, perhaps the revelation would have overwhelmed you. But now you are stronger. Now you have learned. Now you have experienced enough to recognize what peace feels like and what confusion feels like. Now you understand that not every connection deserves unlimited access to your heart. Chosen one, do not confuse history with destiny. Just because someone has known you for a long time does not mean they are supposed to walk with you into every chapter. Just because someone once helped you does not mean you owe them access forever. Just because you love someone does not mean you must ignore what their behavior is revealing. And just because J has a place in your memories does not mean J automatically has a place in your future. This does not mean J is evil. This does not mean every suspicion is true. This does not mean you should judge someone without evidence. It means you should allow God to reveal what you cannot see. There is wisdom in waiting. There is power in silence. There is protection in refusing to react prematurely. Sometimes the enemy wants you to confront too early because a premature confrontation gives people an opportunity to manipulate the situation, change the story, delete evidence, deny what happened, or make you appear unreasonable. But when God is revealing something, you do not have to manufacture the revelation. Truth has a way of standing when lies collapse, and this is where you must become patient. Chosen one. You may notice J behaving differently around you. Maybe J becomes nervous when certain topics come up. Maybe J changes the subject. Maybe J gives vague explanations. Maybe details do not remain consistent. Maybe you have noticed that the story keeps changing. Maybe someone else says something that contradicts what J told you. Maybe a piece of information reaches you unexpectedly. Maybe an old message, a forgotten conversation, a chance encounter, or an innocent statement suddenly gives you a missing piece. Do not rush, observe, pray. Let the pattern reveal itself. One isolated moment can be misunderstood. A repeated pattern deserves attention, and God may be teaching you to stop judging situations based on one emotional moment and start recognizing patterns. Patterns reveal character. Patterns reveal priorities. Patterns reveal motives. Patterns reveal whether words and actions agree. Chosen one, there is something else you need to understand. Sometimes the thing someone is hiding is not necessarily something they have done against you. Sometimes people hide their own struggles. They hide their fear. They hide their shame. They hide their mistakes. They hide the fact that they are struggling financially. They hide the fact that they are emotionally overwhelmed. They hide the fact that they regret something. They hide the fact that they do not know what they want. They hide the fact that they have developed feelings they are afraid to admit. They hide the fact that they are jealous. They hide the fact that they feel threatened by your growth. They hide the fact that they know they treated you unfairly. So do not assume that the hidden thing automatically means betrayal. Let God define the revelation. Your job is not to write the ending before the evidence arrives. Your job is to remain anchored. Chosen one. Perhaps Jay has been hiding something because Jay knows that the truth would change the way you see the situation. Maybe Jay has been trying to maintain an image. Maybe Jay wants you to believe everything is fine. Maybe Jay has been hoping that time will make you forget what happened. But God has a way of bringing buried matters back to the surface, not always dramatically, sometimes quietly. Sometimes through a simple conversation, sometimes through a person's own words, sometimes through their actions, sometimes through circumstances that they cannot control, and sometimes through your own awakening. You begin to see what was always there. That is one of the most powerful forms of revelation. It is not always God showing you something completely new. Sometimes God simply removes the blindness that prevented you from seeing what was already in front of you. And when that happens, you may feel shocked. You may say, "How did I not see this before?" Do not condemn yourself. You saw what you were capable of seeing at that time. You trusted because you had a sincere heart. You believed because you wanted to believe the best. You gave chances because you understood mercy. There is no shame in having a loving heart. The lesson is not to become cold. The lesson is to become discerning. You can be loving without being naive. You can forgive without reopening every door. You can care without allowing manipulation. You can pray for someone without giving them unrestricted access to your life. And you can walk away peacefully without hating anyone. Chosen one, God is teaching you boundaries because your future requires them. There are places you cannot go while carrying everyone else's expectations. There are assignments you cannot complete while constantly explaining yourself to people who have already decided to misunderstand you. There are blessings you cannot fully enjoy while remaining emotionally attached to chaos. And there are relationships that cannot survive the version of you that God is developing. That is why this season may feel lonely. You may be watching people disappear. You may be noticing conversations becoming shorter. You may be feeling less interested in proving yourself. You may be craving silence more than attention. You may be less willing to tolerate disrespect. You may be realizing that peace is more valuable than being understood by everyone. That is not necessarily isolation. Sometimes it is preparation. Sometimes God reduces the noise because He wants you to hear clearly. Chosen one, listen to what your spirit has been trying to tell you. Not every uneasy feeling is a divine warning, but neither should every warning be dismissed as anxiety or overthinking. Test what you sense. Look for facts, look for patterns. Seek wisdom. Pray and give yourself enough time to distinguish intuition from fear. Fear says, something terrible must be happening. Discernment says, something feels unclear, so I will slow down and seek wisdom. A fear rushes. Discernment waits, fear creates stories. Discernment observes evidence. Fear demands immediate action. Discernment knows when to move and when to remain still. Chosen one, this is why you cannot allow Jay to control your emotional state. If Jay is hiding something. You do not need to become obsessed with discovering it every hour. You do not need to check every message. You do not need to interrogate mutual friends. You do not need to search endlessly for clues. You do not need to lose sleep trying to predict what someone might do. If the truth matters to your destiny, God knows how to bring it to you. And when it comes, you will have the strength to handle it. Perhaps you are worried that the truth will hurt. Maybe it will. Truth can hurt, but deception can imprison you. A painful truth can eventually set you free. A comfortable lie can keep you trapped for years. So if God is removing a veil, do not ask him to put it back because the truth is uncomfortable. Ask him for strength. Ask him for wisdom. Ask him for peace. Ask him to help you respond rather than react. Because the goal is not simply to know the truth. The goal is to become the kind of person who can carry the truth without allowing it to destroy your character. Chosen one, maybe you will discover that J was hiding something significant. Maybe you will discover that J was not honest. Maybe you will discover that someone else was involved in a situation. Maybe you will learn that a decision was made without you. Maybe you will uncover a motive that changes your understanding of the past. But there is another possibility. Maybe the revelation will show you that your fear was larger than reality. Maybe J was struggling with something personal. Maybe there was a misunderstanding. Maybe there was information you did not have. Maybe what looked suspicious had another explanation. That is why you must leave room for truth to be truth, even when it does not match your expectations. Do not become attached to a particular outcome. Become attached to wisdom. Chosen one, this is where spiritual maturity becomes visible. Anyone can celebrate when the truth confirms what they already believed. But maturity allows God to correct you when your assumptions were wrong. If you discover that you misunderstood someone, have the humility to admit it. If you discover that someone deceived you, have the courage to establish boundaries. If you discover that someone needs help, have compassion without abandoning wisdom. If you discover betrayal, allow yourself to grieve without becoming bitter. If you discover that a relationship must end, let it end without destroying yourself trying to get revenge. Because your future is too valuable to spend on revenge. God did not bring you through everything you survived just so you could become consumed by the people who hurt you. You survived to become free. You survived to become wise. You survived to become whole. You survived to understand that your identity is not determined by how someone treated you. Chosen one, J, may have a secret, but your greatest revelation may be about yourself. You may discover how much stronger you are now. You may discover that you no longer need answers from people who refuse to give them. You may discover that closure does not always come through a conversation. You may discover that peace sometimes comes when you stop waiting for an apology. You may discover that you can love someone and still walk away. You may discover that you can forgive someone without trusting them again. You may discover that you can release the need to understand every detail. And you may discover that God was protecting you even when you thought he had forgotten you. Chosen one, there is a reason you have been feeling that something is shifting. Maybe the people around you are changing. Maybe your priorities are changing. Maybe your tolerance for certain behavior is disappearing. Maybe your desire for superficial connections is fading. Maybe you have started wanting more meaningful conversations. Maybe you have started asking bigger questions about your purpose. Maybe you are becoming less impressed by appearances. This transformation is important, because when your discernment grows, certain environments begin to feel uncomfortable. Not because you think you are better than anyone, but because you are no longer compatible with everything you once tolerated. And sometimes the hidden truth about J becomes visible precisely because you have changed. You are no longer willing to ignore what you once ignored. You are no longer desperate enough to accept crumbs. You are no longer afraid enough to tolerate manipulation. You are no longer dependent enough to overlook disrespect. And someone who benefited from the old version of you may not understand the new version of you. That is okay. Chosen one, you do not need permission to grow. You do not need everyone to celebrate your boundaries. You do not need everyone to understand your silence. You do not need everyone to agree with your decisions. You need to remain aligned with what you believe God is teaching you. And if the truth about J is revealed, do not let the revelation make you question God's goodness. Sometimes God answers prayers by revealing what you did not want to see. Sometimes protection looks like disappointment. Sometimes redirection looks like rejection. Sometimes deliverance looks like separation. Sometimes the blessing begins with an ending. You may have prayed, God, bring the right people into my life. And God may answer by removing the wrong people. You may have prayed, God, give me peace. And God may answer by showing you what has been disturbing your peace. You may have prayed, God, reveal the truth. Why and now the truth may be arriving. Do not reject the answer simply because it is uncomfortable. Chosen one, remember that you are not called to control other people's choices. You cannot tell the truth. You cannot make someone become honest. You cannot force someone to value you. You cannot make someone apologize. You cannot make someone recognize your worth, but you can decide what you will do with the information once it becomes clear. That is your power, that is your responsibility, and that is where your peace begins. Maybe Jay will confess, maybe Jay will explain, maybe someone else will reveal something, maybe circumstances will make the truth obvious. Maybe you will simply realize that you have enough information to make a wise decision without knowing every detail. Because sometimes you do not need the entire story to know that a chapter is finished. Chosen one, be careful not to demand every answer. There are answers that will come in time. There are answers that may never come. And there are answers that no longer matter once you become healed. You might once have needed to know why someone betrayed you. Later, you may realize that the more important question was why you stayed so long. You might once have needed to know why someone lied. Later, you may realize that their dishonesty revealed everything you needed to know. You might once have needed someone to validate your experience. Later, you may realize that God gave you the strength to validate yourself. That is growth. That is freedom. Chosen one, if Jay is hiding something, let the truth come without you losing yourself in the process. Do not sacrifice your peace to uncover another person's secrets. Do not neglect your responsibilities because you are consumed with suspicion. Do not stop living because you are waiting for an explanation. Keep moving. Keep praying. Keep building. Keep becoming. Keep your heart open to the possibility that God is preparing something better than what you are currently afraid of losing. Because sometimes we focus so intensely on what someone is hiding that we fail to notice what God is preparing to reveal. And maybe the bigger revelation is not about Jay at all. Maybe it is about your next chapter. Maybe God is preparing to reveal a new opportunity, a new relationship, a new direction, a new level of confidence, a new understanding of your purpose, a new door that could not open while you were standing in the wrong place. Chosen one, perhaps the truth is being revealed before it is too late, because God does not want you carrying old confusion into a new season. There are things you cannot build while constantly looking behind you. There are relationships you cannot fully receive while emotionally tied to someone else's uncertainty. There are dreams you cannot pursue with confidence while constantly asking whether someone approves of you. There is a future waiting for your attention, and God may be removing distractions. So when the truth arrives, receive it. Do not negotiate with it. Do not twist it to protect your attachment. Do not create excuses for what has become clear, but also do not exaggerate it. Do not turn one revelation into hatred for everyone. Do not allow one person's behavior to convince you that nobody can be trusted. Do not let one betrayal become a permanent prison around your heart. Learn, heal, discern, then continue. Chosen one, perhaps this is the moment to stop asking, what is Jay hiding from me? And start asking, what is God trying to show me? That question changes everything. Because the first question keeps your attention on another person's behavior. The second question brings your attention back to your own path. What is God teaching you? What boundary needs to be established? What pattern needs to end? What truth needs to be accepted? What relationship needs to be reconsidered? What fear needs to be released? What decision have you been postponing? What have you known deep down but refused to acknowledge? These questions may lead you somewhere deeper than any secret ever could. Chosen one, there is a reason this message begins with urgency before it is too late. But too late does not necessarily mean disaster. Sometimes it means before you invest another year, before you give another chance, before you sign something, before you make a commitment, before you move somewhere, before you hand someone your trust, before you reveal something deeply personal, before you attach your future to someone else's promises, before you ignore another warning. God may be giving you an opportunity to pause, and a pause can save you from a painful decision. You do not have to rush into anything simply because someone expects an answer. You can say, I need time. You can say, I need clarity. You can say, I am not comfortable with that. You can say, I need to think about it. You can say, I will pray about this before I decide. Those words can protect your peace. Chosen one, if Jay truly cares about you, healthy boundaries should not threaten the relationship. If someone becomes angry simply because you ask reasonable questions, pay attention. If someone tries to make you feel guilty for needing clarity, pay attention. If someone repeatedly shifts blame instead of addressing concerns, pay attention. If someone insists that you are crazy simply because you noticed inconsistencies, pay attention. But again, do not make conclusions without understanding the situation. Observation is not accusation. Questions are not condemnation. Boundaries are not punishment, and discernment is not hatred. Let your response remain grounded. You are not trying to win. You are trying to understand. And if understanding reveals that something must change, have the courage to change it. Chosen one, God is not asking you to chase people who are running from honesty. He is not asking you to beg someone to choose you. He is not asking you to prove your value. He is not asking you to compete with another person. He is not asking you to become someone you are not just to keep someone interested. If Jay is hiding something because Jay does not want to lose control, Remember that you do not need to fight for control. You need clarity. You need peace. You need wisdom. And sometimes the most powerful response is simply to step back and watch. Watch what happens when you stop over-explaining. Watch what happens when you stop chasing. Watch what happens when you stop rescuing. Watch what happens when you stop accepting every excuse. Watch what happens when you create space. People often reveal themselves when they realize they can no longer control the narrative. Chosen one, let God handle the unveiling. You do not need to expose everyone. You do not need to tell everyone what you discovered. You do not need to announce your boundaries. You do not need to post indirect messages. You do not need to make a public statement. You can move quietly. There is strength in quiet obedience. There is strength in walking away without a dramatic ending. There is strength in refusing to become what hurt you. And there is strength in letting God fight battles that you were never equipped to fight. Maybe Jay expects you to react emotionally. Maybe Jay expects you to chase. Maybe Jay expects you to defend yourself. Maybe Jay expects you to beg for answers. But you can surprise the situation with peace. You can say less. You can observe more. You can pray before speaking. You can wait before deciding. And when the full picture appears, you will not have to wonder whether your emotions made the decision for you. Chosen one, something is being rearranged. Perhaps you cannot see the entire picture yet. Perhaps the pieces are still moving. Perhaps you are standing between what was and what will be. That place can feel uncomfortable. You may feel like you are losing your footing, but sometimes uncertainty is simply the space between revelation and understanding. Do not panic in that space. Stay there long enough to learn. There are lessons that only silence can teach. There are truths that only time can reveal. There are motives that only consistency can expose. There are people who only reveal themselves when circumstances become difficult. And there are blessings that only become visible after you stop clinging to what you thought you needed. Chosen one, if Jay has been hiding something, let this be a reminder that you are not powerless. You can choose how close someone gets. You can choose what information you share. You can choose when to speak. You can choose when to leave. You can choose whether to forgive. You can choose whether to rebuild trust. And you can choose to protect your peace without becoming cruel. God gave you wisdom for a reason. Use it. Do not bury it beneath attachment. Do not silence it because you are afraid of being alone. Do not trade peace for familiarity. Sometimes familiarity feels safe simply because it is known. But known does not always mean safe. And unfamiliar does not always mean dangerous. There are seasons when God asks you to leave what you recognize and walk toward what you cannot yet see. Chosen one, maybe Jay represents more than a person in this message. Maybe Jay represents the hidden issue in your life, the thing you have avoided, the decision you have delayed, the truth you have resisted, the relationship you know is changing, the habit you know must end, the fear you know must be confronted, the chapter you know is closing. Maybe God is using this situation to reveal something deeper within you. And if that is the case, do not miss the lesson by focusing only on the messenger. Ask yourself what this situation has awakened in you. What did it expose about your fears? What did it expose about your expectations? What did it expose about your attachment? What did it expose about your boundaries? What did it expose about your ability to trust yourself? Because sometimes the revelation outside of you points toward a revelation inside of you. Chosen one, you are becoming more aware. And awareness can be painful before it becomes empowering. Once you see something, you cannot always unsee it. Once you understand a pattern, you cannot always pretend it is random. Once you recognize manipulation, you cannot keep calling it love. Once you recognize disrespect, you cannot keep calling it misunderstanding. Once you recognize peace, you cannot keep calling chaos normal. This is why growth changes relationships. The version of you that tolerated certain things may have disappeared, and people may notice. They may ask why you are different. They may accuse you of changing. They may say you are distant. They may say you think you are better. But sometimes you are not becoming distant. You are becoming intentional. You are not becoming arrogant. You are becoming secure. You are not becoming heartless. You are becoming discerning. And that distinction matters. Chosen one, when the truth about Jay becomes clear, remember who you are before you decide what it means. You are not defined by betrayal. You are not defined by rejection. You are not defined by someone else's secret. You are not defined by someone's inability to appreciate you. You are not defined by the chapter you are leaving. You are defined by the character you choose to carry into the next chapter. So keep your heart clean. Keep your motives pure. Keep your eyes open. Keep your boundaries strong. Keep your prayers sincere. And keep moving forward even while some answers are still unfolding. Because there is more happening than you can currently see. The truth may be closer than you realize. The conversation may already be approaching. The evidence may already be forming. The circumstances may already be shifting. And Jay may not be able to hide forever what God has decided you need to know. So do not chase the secret. Prepare yourself for the revelation. Prepare yourself to hear something you expected. Prepare yourself to hear something you did not expect. Prepare yourself to forgive. Prepare yourself to walk away. Prepare yourself to reconsider. Prepare yourself to say no. Prepare yourself to say yes. Prepare yourself to let go of the version of the story you wanted. Because when truth comes, it does not always look like the answer we imagined. Sometimes it arrives as a confirmation. Sometimes it arrives as a surprise. Sometimes it arrives as silence. Sometimes it arrives through a door closing. Sometimes it arrives through someone finally admitting what they have been hiding. And sometimes it arrives through the simple realization that you no longer need them to explain themselves. Chosen one, that may be the greatest sign of all. When you no longer need someone else's confession to trust what God has already taught you, you have reached a different level of freedom. You stop chasing closure. You start choosing peace. You stop demanding answers. You start listening to wisdom. You stop trying to control the outcome. You start trusting that what belongs in your life will not require you to destroy yourself to keep it. And that is where your next chapter begins to take shape. Chosen one, there is still more that you need to understand, because the revelation you have been sensing is not only about what someone else may have hidden. It is also about what God is uncovering within you. There are layers to this season that you may not recognize yet. What feels like confusion may actually be the beginning of clarity. What feels like silence may actually be preparation. What feels like distance may actually be separation from something that could have become a greater burden later. And what feels like a painful ending may be the very thing that creates room for a healthier beginning. Chosen one, you have been learning that not every answer arrives immediately. Sometimes God allows a situation to unfold because if everything were revealed at once, you would respond emotionally instead of wisely. You might rush towards someone. You might confront someone. You might make accusations. You might make decisions that you would later regret. So instead, you are being taught patience. You are being taught to watch. You are being taught to listen. You are being taught to recognize what remains consistent when nobody is trying to impress you. That is where true discernment begins. Anyone can behave well for a moment. Anyone can say the right words during a conversation. Anyone can apologize when they are afraid of losing access to you. Anyone can promise to change when consequences become real. But time reveals what words cannot. Time reveals whether change is genuine. Time reveals whether remorse is real. Time reveals whether someone's intentions were pure. And this is why you should not be afraid of time. Let time speak. Let actions speak. Let circumstances speak. Let the truth reveal itself. Chosen one, if Jay is hiding something, perhaps the greatest mistake would be allowing your imagination to fill in the blanks. When information is missing, the mind can create an entire story. You may begin connecting unrelated events. You may interpret every silence as evidence. You may interpret every delay as proof. You may begin seeing betrayal everywhere because you are afraid of being betrayed again. Do not do that to yourself. God does not need you to live in constant suspicion. He wants you to live in wisdom. There is a difference between being aware and being consumed. Awareness says, I will pay attention. Fear says, must figure everything out right now. Awareness gives you peace. Fear steals your peace. Awareness waits for evidence. Fear creates evidence out of assumptions. So protect your mind. Protect your peace. Do not allow uncertainty to become an addiction. Chosen one, there may be something that Jay knows that you do not know yet. Perhaps Jay has information about a decision, a conversation, a relationship, or an event that has not reached you. Maybe Jay is waiting for the right moment to tell you. Maybe Jay is afraid of your reaction. Maybe Jay does not know how to explain what happened. Maybe Jay believes that hiding the truth will protect you. But hidden truth eventually becomes heavy. Secrets require maintenance. A person has to remember what they said, what they did, who they told, and what version of the story they presented. That is why deception often creates contradictions. The truth does not need a complicated system to survive. A lie often does. Chosen one, if you notice contradictions, do not immediately explode. Simply remember them. You do not have to confront every inconsistency the moment you notice it. Sometimes the best thing you can do is quietly observe whether the inconsistency corrects itself or becomes part of a larger pattern. And if a pattern develops, you will have greater clarity. This is maturity. You are learning to respond to the whole picture instead of reacting to one moment. Chosen one, perhaps you have been asking why your relationship with Jay feels different lately. Maybe there was once a natural flow between you, and now everything feels forced. Maybe conversations that once lasted hours now feel empty. Maybe you sense emotional distance even when the person is physically present. Maybe there is a strange hesitation in the way they communicate. Do not automatically assume the worst, but do not automatically ignore it either. Something may have changed, and your task is to understand what changed. People change. Circumstances change. Feelings change. Priorities change. Sometimes relationships evolve naturally. Sometimes distance is temporary. Sometimes it is a warning. Sometimes it is a transition. That is why you need wisdom rather than assumptions. Chosen one, perhaps Jay has been struggling with something that has nothing to do with you. Perhaps their behavior is coming from a private battle you know nothing about. You may be interpreting their silence as rejection when they are actually overwhelmed. You may be interpreting their distance as betrayal when they are dealing with fear. This is why compassion and discernment must work together. Discernment without compassion can become judgment. Compassion without discernment can become self-neglect. You need both. You can say, I understand that you may be struggling, while also saying, I will not allow your struggle to become permission for you to mistreat me. That is healthy. That is balanced. Chosen one, God is not calling you to become suspicious of every person. He is calling you to become wise about who receives access to your heart. Not everyone deserves the same level of trust. Trust should be built. Trust should be tested by consistency. Trust should be strengthened through honesty. Trust should not be demanded. Anyone who says, if you trusted me, you would never question me, may be trying to make trust a weapon against you. Healthy trust can survive honest questions. Healthy relationships can survive boundaries. Healthy connections can survive conversations about uncomfortable subjects. So if Jay truly values you, clarity should not be treated like an attack. Chosen one, you may soon have a conversation that you have been avoiding. And when that moment comes, remember this message. Do not enter the conversation determined to prove someone guilty. Enter the conversation determined to understand. Ask clear questions. Listen carefully. Notice whether the answer is direct or evasive. Notice whether accountability is present. Notice whether the person takes responsibility or immediately blames someone else. Notice whether their words match what you already know. But do not interrupt the process with anger. You do not have to shout to be heard. You do not have to insult someone to establish a boundary. You do not have to threaten anyone. Your calmness can communicate more strength than your anger ever could. Chosen one, if Jay tells you the truth, listen. If Jay apologizes sincerely, decide whether forgiveness is appropriate. If Jay denies everything, give yourself time. If Jay becomes aggressive, step back. If Jay manipulates you, recognize it. If Jay accepts responsibility, watch what happens next. Because words are only the beginning. The real evidence is what follows the conversation. Someone can say, I am sorry. The question is, what changes afterward? Someone can say, it will never happen again. The question is, does it happen again? Someone can say, you mean everything to me. The question is, does their behavior demonstrate that? Chosen one, you are entering a season where you cannot afford to confuse potential with reality. Potential is what someone could become. Reality is what they consistently demonstrate. You can hope someone changes without building your entire future around the hope that they will. You can pray for someone without depending on them. You can believe in someone's potential without ignoring their current behavior. This distinction can save you from years of disappointment. Chosen one, maybe Jay has been hiding something because Jay is afraid you will leave. But if the only way someone can keep you is by hiding the truth, then the relationship is already built on unstable ground. You deserve honesty. You deserve clarity. You deserve respect. And you do not need to apologize for wanting those things. There is nothing unreasonable about wanting someone to be truthful with you. There is nothing selfish about wanting consistency. There is nothing wrong with saying, I need to know where I stand. You are allowed to ask. You are allowed to pause. You are allowed to walk away. Chosen one, God may be showing you that your worth cannot be negotiated. Perhaps you have spent years trying to prove that you are valuable. You tried to be more understanding. You tried to be more patient. You tried to give more. You tried to forgive more. You tried to become everything someone might want. But love that requires you to erase yourself is not healthy love. Connection that requires you to abandon your boundaries is not healthy connection. And loyalty that requires you to tolerate repeated disrespect is not loyalty. It is self-neglect. God may be teaching you the difference. Chosen one, maybe the secret Jay is hiding is connected to something that you already suspected, but were afraid to admit. Perhaps you knew deep down. Perhaps you noticed it months ago. Perhaps you dismissed it because you loved the person. Perhaps you thought, they would never do that to me. When maybe that belief kept you from seeing clearly. But understand something important. Your willingness to believe the best about someone was not stupidity. It was evidence of your heart. You were sincere. You trusted. You gave grace. Do not punish yourself because someone did not honor that trust. Learn from it. Let the experience make you wiser, not bitter. Chosen one, bitterness will try to convince you that nobody can be trusted. Wisdom will tell you that trust should be earned. Bitterness says, everyone is the same. Wisdom says, everyone is different, so I will observe character. Bitterness closes every door. Wisdom installs a door with a lock. There is a difference. You do not have to become unreachable to become discerning. You simply have to stop giving unlimited access to people who have not demonstrated that they can handle it. Chosen one, there may come a moment when you realize that Jay has been watching your transformation. Maybe they have noticed that you are different. Maybe they have noticed that you no longer respond the same way. Maybe they have noticed that you are less available. Maybe they have noticed that you have become more confident, and perhaps that change has affected them. Some people celebrate your growth. Others feel threatened by it. Why? Because your growth may remove their influence over you. When you stop needing approval, manipulation becomes harder. When you stop chasing, games become less effective. When you stop explaining yourself, arguments lose their power. When you become secure, insecurity around you becomes easier to notice. Chosen one, this may be why certain people seem uncomfortable around the new you. Do not shrink to make them comfortable. You can remain humble without becoming small. You can remain kind without becoming weak. You can remain generous without becoming easily exploited. You can remain loving without abandoning discernment. God does not need you to become less of yourself to preserve a connection that cannot survive your growth. Chosen one, perhaps, J, is hiding jealousy. Perhaps they are not comfortable with your progress. Maybe they compare themselves to you. Maybe your success reminds them of something they believe they lack. Maybe your confidence makes them uncomfortable. Maybe your opportunities make them question their own life. But again, do not assume. Watch behavior. Jealousy often reveals itself through subtle patterns. Someone may celebrate you publicly while minimizing you privately. Someone may congratulate you but immediately point out why your success is not that impressive. Someone may become distant whenever something good happens to you. Someone may constantly compete with you. Someone may make jokes that slowly weaken your confidence. Someone may support you only when you are struggling, but become uncomfortable when you start thriving. If you recognize patterns like these, pay attention. Not because you need enemies, but because you need clarity. Chosen one, your purpose requires you to know who can celebrate with you. There are people who can handle your pain but cannot handle your elevation. There are people who will stand beside you when you are broken, but become distant when you become strong. There are people who like the version of you that needs them, and when you become independent, the relationship changes. That can be painful, but it can also be revealing. You learn who loved you and who loved being needed. You learn who valued you and who valued what you provided. You learn who supported your growth and who benefited from your limitations. And sometimes that revelation is exactly what God needed you to see. Chosen one, do not be afraid to outgrow people. Outgrowing someone does not mean you hate them. It means your paths may no longer align. You can wish someone well from a distance. You can pray for them without returning to the same dynamic. You can forgive without repeating the same mistake. Forgiveness releases your heart. Boundaries protect your future. You need both. Chosen one, there is another possibility you should consider. Maybe J is hiding something because they are planning to reveal it at the right time. Maybe there is a surprise. Maybe there is an opportunity. Maybe there is a decision they have been preparing. Maybe they are protecting something until the moment is right. This is why you must not allow fear to write the story before the truth arrives. You may be expecting betrayal and discover preparation. You may be expecting rejection and discover hesitation. You may be expecting loss and discover protection. You may be expecting an ending and discover a transition. The point is not to predict. The point is to remain ready. Chosen one, God can turn uncertainty into understanding. What you cannot understand today may become obvious tomorrow. That is why patience is so powerful. Patience does not mean doing nothing. It means refusing to make permanent decisions based on temporary confusion. It means allowing enough time for reality to reveal itself. It means refusing to let emotional pressure force you into premature action. And sometimes patience is the difference between wisdom and regret. Chosen one, if you feel like you are standing at a crossroads, take your time. You do not have to choose immediately. You can gather information. You can seek counsel from trustworthy people. You can pray. You can reflect. You can step back. And you can watch. A person who genuinely cares about you will not need to rush you into a decision that affects your future. Pressure is often a sign that someone wants an outcome more than they want your well-being. So notice who respects your need for time. Notice who becomes angry when you hesitate. Notice who tries to make you feel guilty. Notice who gives you space. These reactions tell you something. Chosen one, your future deserves careful decisions. You have already survived enough impulsive choices. You have already learned that not every opportunity is an assignment. Not every connection is a covenant. Not every open door is a blessing. Sometimes an open door leads somewhere you were never supposed to stay, and sometimes a closed door is protection. Do not measure God's goodness by how easily things happen. Sometimes the hardest no is the most merciful answer. Sometimes the person you wanted is the person God is protecting you from. Sometimes the opportunity you wanted would have distracted you from your true purpose. Sometimes the relationship you were begging to save was the very thing keeping you from becoming who you were created to be. Chosen one, this is why the truth about J matters. Not because you need to expose someone. Not because you need revenge. Not because you need to prove that your intuition was right. It matters because your next decision may depend on it. And God wants you to make that decision with clarity. Maybe you are about to give J another chance. Maybe you are considering rebuilding trust. Maybe you are thinking about entering a relationship. Maybe you are thinking about ending one. Maybe you are deciding whether to collaborate with someone. Maybe you are deciding whether to reveal something personal. Whatever the decision is, do not ignore what God has already been teaching you. Chosen one, there is wisdom in remembering the past without living in it. Your experiences are teachers. They are not your prison. Use what you learned. Do not use it to torture yourself. You do not need to replay every conversation. You do not need to wonder what you could have done differently. You did the best you could with the understanding you had. Now you have more understanding. Now you can make different choices. That is growth. Chosen one, perhaps the most powerful thing God is revealing is that you do not need to be afraid of being alone. Fear of loneliness can make people accept relationships that damage them. Fear of starting over can make people stay in situations that have already ended. Fear of losing someone can make people abandon themselves. But you must understand this. Being alone for a season is better than being surrounded by people who constantly disturb your peace. Silence is better than manipulation. Solitude is better than betrayal. A peaceful, empty room is better than a crowded room where your spirit cannot rest. Do not fear the space God creates. Sometimes He creates space because He wants to fill it with something healthier. Chosen one, if J walks away, let them walk. If J reveals the truth, receive it. If J apologizes, discern the apology. If J changes, watch the consistency. If J does not change, accept the evidence. Do not chase, do not beg, do not force, do not manipulate, do not threaten. You are not responsible for controlling another person's decision. You are responsible for protecting your own integrity. And when you protect your integrity, you can walk away from situations without losing yourself. Chosen one, perhaps this is the season when you finally stop asking, "How can I make this work?" and instead ask, "Is this healthy for me?" That question changes your life. Not everything that can be repaired should be repaired. Not everything that can be saved should be saved. Not every relationship deserves another chance. But some things do deserve patience. That is why discernment matters. You are not looking for reasons to leave. You are looking for truth. And when truth becomes clear, you will know what to do. Chosen one, God does not always shout. Sometimes He whispers through a pattern. Sometimes He speaks through a closed door. Sometimes He uses a conversation. Sometimes He uses a delay. Sometimes He uses a person's behavior. Sometimes He gives you peace about walking away. Sometimes He gives you peace about staying. The important thing is to learn the language of wisdom. Do not demand dramatic signs when simple clarity is already present. If someone consistently disrespects you, you may not need another sign. If someone consistently honors you, you may not need another sign. If something repeatedly produces chaos, you may need to reconsider why you keep calling it peace. And if something repeatedly produces healthy fruit, perhaps you should stop sabotaging it because you are afraid. Chosen one, you are learning to distinguish between what is familiar and what is faithful. That is a major lesson. Familiarity can feel comforting, but comfort is not always confirmation. Sometimes you are comfortable because you have become accustomed to dysfunction. Sometimes peace feels strange because you have lived around chaos for so long. Sometimes a healthy person feels boring because your nervous system is used to unpredictability. So do not judge a relationship simply because it has not produced the emotional highs and lows you once experienced. Stability can feel unfamiliar. Honesty can feel unfamiliar. Consistency can feel unfamiliar. And that unfamiliarity does not make it wrong. Chosen one, maybe J, is connected to a chapter where you learned how to survive, but your next chapter may require you to learn how to receive. There is a difference between survival and peace. Survival teaches you to anticipate danger. Peace teaches you to trust wisely. Survival teaches you to protect yourself. Healing teaches you when protection is necessary and when openness is safe. You are becoming someone who does not need chaos to feel alive. And that transformation may change who you are attracted to, who you trust, and what you tolerate. This is why the revelation about J may feel bigger than one person. It may be the revelation that you have changed. Chosen one, you are not the same person who entered this situation. You have learned. You have cried. You have prayed. You have questioned. You have survived moments you thought would break you. And now you are standing differently. You are stronger. You are more aware. You are more careful with your energy. You understand that your attention is valuable. Your time is valuable. Your trust is valuable. Your peace is valuable. And you are beginning to treat them that way. Chosen one, when God reveals the truth, you may initially feel disappointment. Allow yourself to feel it. Do not pretend that everything is fine. Do not suppress your emotions just to appear strong. Strength is not the absence of pain. Strength is the ability to carry pain without allowing it to control your future. Cry if you need to. Pray if you need to. Take space if you need to. But do not build a permanent home inside the pain. Eventually, you must rise. Eventually, you must continue. Eventually, you must understand that the truth did not come to destroy you. It came to redirect you. Chosen one, there may be something better waiting beyond the thing you are afraid to lose. You cannot see it because you are still holding the old thing. You cannot receive with both hands full. Sometimes release is required before reception. Sometimes God empties your hands so he can place something new into them. That does not mean every loss is immediately replaced. It means that loss does not have the final word. There can be purpose after pain. There can be peace after confusion. There can be trust after betrayal. There can be love after disappointment. There can be joy after grief. There can be a new chapter after an ending. Chosen one, do not let J become the center of your world. J is a person. Your purpose is larger. Your future is larger. Your relationship with God is larger. Your life is larger. Do not give one person's actions the power to define your entire existence. If they made a mistake, let it be their mistake. If they lied, let their dishonesty belong to them. If they betrayed you, let their betrayal remain their responsibility. You do not have to carry what they chose. You can release it. You can learn from it. You can move beyond it. Chosen one, there is freedom in understanding that you cannot control what people do. But you can control what you tolerate. You cannot control whether someone tells the truth. But you can control whether you continue trusting them after repeated dishonesty. You cannot control whether someone respects you. But you can control whether you remain available to disrespect. You cannot control whether someone chooses you. But you can control whether you keep choosing someone who refuses to choose you. That is where your power lies, not in controlling others. In governing yourself, chosen one, the truth may be closer than you think. And when it arrives, remember the person you became while waiting for it. Remember how God strengthened you. Remember the lessons. Remember the nights you thought you would never get through. Remember the moments when you had nothing but faith. You survived those moments. You can survive this revelation too, and perhaps you will discover that what you feared was not the end. It was the beginning of clarity. It was the beginning of boundaries. It was the beginning of freedom. It was the beginning of a life where you no longer need to live according to someone else's hidden agenda. Chosen one, stay calm. Stay prayerful. Stay observant. Do not chase what God is already bringing into the light. Do not force a confession. Do not manufacture evidence. Do not become obsessed. Let the truth stand on its own. And while you wait, keep building your life. Keep pursuing your purpose. Keep becoming healthier. Keep strengthening your character. Keep loving the people who genuinely love you. Keep walking through the doors that are clearly open. Keep trusting that what is meant for you will not require you to betray yourself to keep it. Because the revelation is coming, but it may not arrive in the way you expect. It may come through a message. It may come through a conversation. It may come through an unexpected meeting. It may come through a change in behavior. It may come through a decision. It may come through a silence that suddenly makes sense. And when that moment comes, you will understand why you were told to wait. You will understand why you were asked not to react. You will understand why your spirit was being trained to recognize the difference between fear and discernment. You will understand why certain things had to remain hidden for a season. And perhaps you will look back and realize that God was not late. God was preparing you. Chosen one, the truth does not need your panic. It needs your attention. It does not need your anger. It needs your wisdom. It does not need revenge. It needs your response. And whatever is revealed about J, remember that your response will become part of your testimony. You can respond with dignity. You can respond with boundaries. You can respond with forgiveness. You can respond with distance. You can respond with courage. But do not respond in a way that makes you ashamed of yourself later. Your future self will thank you for the patience you practiced today. Your future self will thank you for not sending that angry message. Your future self will thank you for waiting for evidence. Your future self will thank you for not begging someone to stay. Your future self will thank you for protecting your peace. Your future self will thank you for trusting wisdom over impulse. Chosen one, you are approaching a moment where something may become clearer than it has ever been. The pieces are moving. The atmosphere is changing. The truth is coming closer to the surface. And perhaps J knows that. Perhaps that is why the behavior feels different. Perhaps the secret is becoming too heavy to carry. Perhaps circumstances are making concealment impossible. Perhaps the truth is already beginning to escape through small cracks. So watch carefully, not obsessively, carefully, listen carefully, not fearfully, patiently. And when the moment arrives, do not forget who you are. You are not the person who needs to chase. You are not the person who needs to beg. You are not the person who needs to prove your worth. You are not the person who needs to accept confusion as the price of connection. You are becoming the person who can stand calmly in the truth, even when the truth is difficult. And that is why this season matters so much. Because the revelation is not merely about what J has been hiding. It is about what you are finally ready to see. Chosen one. Now you are reaching the part of the journey where clarity begins to replace confusion. You have waited, you have questioned, you have prayed, and you have watched things unfold without having every answer in your hands. But understand this, you were never required to know everything at once. Sometimes God gives you enough light for the next step, and when you take that step, another portion of the path becomes visible. That is how discernment grows. That is how faith becomes stronger. And that is why you should not be afraid of what is being revealed. Chosen one, if J has been hiding something, let the truth come into the light without allowing it to destroy your peace. You do not have to chase anyone for an explanation. You do not have to force a confession. You do not have to investigate every detail until you exhaust yourself. If something genuinely needs to be known, it will become clear in the right time and in the right way. And when that truth arrives, remember, react from fear. Do not speak from anger. Do not make decisions simply because you feel hurt in the moment. Pause, breathe, pray, think, then respond. Because the revelation may test not only what you believe about J, but what you believe about yourself. You may discover that you are stronger than you thought. You may discover that you can walk away from something you once believed you could never leave. You may discover that you can forgive without returning to the same situation. You may discover that you can love someone without allowing them to control your future. And you may discover that losing access to someone is not the same thing as losing your destiny. Chosen one, there is a difference between losing a person and losing yourself. Do not lose yourself trying to keep someone. Do not abandon your values to preserve a relationship. Do not compromise your peace just because you are afraid of starting over. Do not remain where you constantly have to question your worth. The right people will not require you to destroy your identity in order to belong. The right relationships will make room for honesty. The right connections will allow accountability. The right people will not punish you for having boundaries. And when God reveals what was hidden, you will understand why clarity was necessary. Perhaps J was not meant to remain in the same position in your life. Perhaps the relationship was meant to teach you something. Perhaps it was meant to strengthen you. Perhaps it was meant to reveal a pattern. Perhaps it was meant to prepare you for something healthier. Not every relationship is a lifetime relationship. Some relationships are lessons. Some are seasons. Some are warnings. Some are blessings. And some are both a blessing and a lesson. Chosen one, do not despise the lesson simply because it came through pain. You can honor what the experience taught you without returning to what harmed you. You can appreciate the memories without rebuilding the same circumstances. You can acknowledge the good without denying the bad. You can forgive the person while still choosing a different path. That is maturity. That is freedom. And that is what God may be preparing you for. Chosen one, perhaps the greatest revelation is that you do not need to fear the future anymore. You once thought that if this person left, you would not know what to do. You once thought that if the relationship ended, your life would fall apart. You once thought that if someone rejected you, it meant you were not enough. But now you understand. Your life does not end because someone chooses not to stay. Your purpose does not disappear because someone misunderstands you. Your value does not decrease because someone fails to recognize it. Your future does not collapse because one relationship changes. There is more ahead. There is more to build. There is more to learn. There is more to become. Chosen one, if J tells you the truth, receive it with wisdom. If the truth hurts, allow yourself to heal. If the truth brings relief, give thanks. If the truth changes your direction, have courage to follow the new path. And if the truth reveals that you were wrong about some things, have humility. You do not have to be right about every suspicion to be wise. Real wisdom is being willing to change your understanding when new information appears. That is why you should never become attached to the idea that you already know exactly what J is hiding. Let reality speak. Let evidence speak. Let time speak. Let God guide your response. Chosen one, perhaps you have spent too much time looking at the door behind you. Turn around. There is a road ahead. There is a life ahead. There are opportunities ahead. There are people ahead. There are experiences ahead. There are moments of peace you have not experienced yet. There are prayers that have not been answered yet. There are chapters you have not read yet. Do not allow one unanswered question to consume the entire story. You are still becoming. Your story is still unfolding. And this moment, no matter how confusing it feels, is not the final chapter. Chosen one, the truth may reveal something about J, but it can also reveal something beautiful about God's protection. Maybe the thing you thought was rejection was actually rescue. Maybe the delay was preparation. Maybe the closed door was mercy. Maybe the separation was protection. Maybe the unanswered question was preserving you until you were strong enough to handle the answer. Sometimes we ask God to explain everything immediately, but God knows what our hearts can carry. So trust the timing. You do not need to force tomorrow into today. Let tomorrow arrive. And when it does, you will have what you need to face it. Chosen one, this is your reminder: do not fear truth. Truth may change your plans, but it cannot destroy what is truly meant for you. Truth may close one door, but it can reveal another. Truth may expose someone's character, but it can strengthen your own. Truth may hurt your feelings, but it can protect your future. And truth may end a chapter, but it cannot end your purpose. So stand firm, stay calm. Keep your heart clean, keep your discernment awake, and refuse to become bitter because someone else was not honest. Their choices belong to them. Your response belongs to you. Choose wisdom, choose dignity, choose peace, choose healing, choose to move forward. Chosen one, perhaps Jay, was hiding something because the truth was difficult to say. Perhaps it was fear, perhaps it was regret, perhaps it was another decision. Perhaps it was something you never expected. Whatever it is, you do not need to be afraid. You have already survived uncertainty. You have already survived disappointment. You have already survived moments when you thought your heart could not take another blow. And you are still here. That means you are stronger than the situation. The revelation cannot erase everything you have become. It can only show you what you need to do next. So when the truth comes, receive it. When clarity comes, accept it. When the door closes, release it. When the new door opens, walk through it. And when you finally understand why God allowed you to see what you saw, do not look back with regret. Look back with gratitude. Because sometimes the thing that breaks your heart is the same thing that saves your future. Chosen one, you do not have to know every detail tonight. You only need enough faith to take the next step. Let God reveal what needs to be revealed. Let God remove what needs to be removed. Let God restore what needs to be restored. Let God expose what needs to be exposed. And let God prepare you for what comes after the revelation. Because your story is not ending with what Jay has hidden. Your story is continuing with what God is revealing. And when the truth finally stands completely in the light, you will understand that you were not abandoned in the confusion. You were being guided through it. You were being strengthened through it. You were being prepared to recognize what was real, release what was false, and walk forward without carrying the weight of yesterday into tomorrow. Chosen one, stand firm. Keep your heart open, but keep your discernment awake. Keep your faith strong, but keep your feet grounded. Do not chase what is hiding. Do not fear what is coming. Do not allow another person's secret to become the center of your life. Let the truth arrive in its time, and when it does, meet it with courage, wisdom, and peace, because what is truly meant for you will not be destroyed by the truth. What is false will be exposed. What is genuine will become stronger. What is unhealthy will lose its hold. And what God is preparing for your next chapter will not require you to remain trapped in confusion. Chosen one, breathe deeply. Release the need to control the outcome, and trust that what is hidden will not remain hidden forever. The truth is making its way into the light, and when you finally see the whole picture, you may realize that God was protecting you long before you understood what He was protecting you from.